Je deteste les politiciens. Politicians seem to blunder frequently, well-intentioned certainly, that fact's observable in their lengthy dispatches. Enacted policy might be abhorrent, and the torrent of violence unleashed against foreigners, forests and our seas, well, I'm sure it's unintentional. And the economy's got to be catered for. Accumulating a stash takes priority. Cash drives expansion. Comprehending the death toll must remain extraneous to the position of the politicians. So, sinister ministers tinker with tinctures, capital ventures, offshore oil, after all, not their shore that it's on, not spoiling their just gorgeous second home in the south of Cornwall, so I detest the politicians, forsaking change within their purview. I detest the politicians whom prostrate magistrates defer to, proselytizing the precise and unerring word of law, certain of its righteousness, straight as an arrow, whores condemned. The boy who sold his body to the wrong gang, unsanctioned venture capital bought him a gun, and bang, he should have known his capacity in the mechanism of capital is merely as Christ, crucified for the sins of the right honourable gentleman. But can I call killing sin at this point in time? Can we know that killing is wrong when there are so many conditions to be met, contradictions, variables to be accounted for? Did the people leave after leaflets dropped? Guess not. That's the cost of war. Did he perform sufficiently to be perceived as non-violent by a cop? Guess not. But that's what the judicial system's for, surely, to judge unbiasedly. We live in a world where officials obey laws. Being a man means holding open doors, and my jaw literally hits the floor by my shock at the fall. It's an absurd notion that law is justice, or that MPs abide by it. Ritualistic interpretation of some overwritten passages serves solely to justify incarceration of those insufficiently abstracted from violence and war. Judged by ponces on the other side of the coin, it's electric. There's potential, at least that's how I've been taught to label a power differential in a neurodivisive, anthropocentric Western perspective that folks just can't seem to quit. Foundational knowledge holds me hostage, and what even is violence among all of this? Clocking your neighbour obviously isn't a behaviour we should encourage, but what about your owner? What about your local white nationalists? What about some sinister minister administering austerity while living in luxury? What if I just nicked his telly, blundered and slipped a brick through his bay windows maybe, vandalised his lounge while him and the kids are off holidaying in Thailand? Violence? Maybe. We all have our own opinions. I guess the politicians and I do agree, though, on something. In the contemporary era, some people just aren't worth saving, but I'm being polemic. Maybe. What do I want you to have absorbed in the course of these exaltations? And I do admit myself to be pious, though arriving to my faith through critical investigation. Nonetheless, I'm a zealot. It's kind of radical, but perhaps now that you've heard me out, you'll ponder on what's moral for the cause of liberation, for refutation of oppression, repudiation of colonial concepts, for restitution, for the global majority. Maybe regarding what's moral, there's a little less clarity.